What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where in this one, going to talk a little bit about what's going on with the Indianapolis Colts through this offseason, kind of what we've already talked about, and hopefully there are going to be some other football fans that happen to join in on this conversation, looking at what the Indianapolis Colts have done specifically, Texans, Jaguars, Titans fans. You know, they're going to come in here and hopefully talk a little trash, right? I'm completely fine with that. It's the dead of the offseason. Let's have a little fun. But this obviously is about the Indianapolis Colts and how they finessed the entire NFL this offseason from what Ballard's done in the past. And we already had a video kind of going over those kinds of things where Ballard really just turns it around. He said he was going to do something, and he did it. And the Indianapolis Colts have put themselves in a position where I really think, even though Colts fans generally are optimistic throughout the year, and we find different ways to, hey, our team's going to be good because of this. Right, I feel like as a community, as a Colts community, we do a pretty good job of that. And of course, a lot of that has not been bearing fruit for us since Andrew Luck retired. So coming into this year, right, looking at the things that needed to happen for us to really get ourselves pushed over the edge. And of course, the quarterback is going to be the thing that's the big question. So yes, with all the different moves that the Colts made this offseason, everything that's been done to get us to the point we're at right now, does any of it matter if any of these quarterbacks don't perform? Nah, not really. Right? We saw this team go 9-8 with Gardner Minshew, so it's a little bit to be said there, right? Really just need one of these quarterbacks to be kind of consistent, just kind of consistent, and we'll find a way. Because the Colts, dude, the Colts, and you can even take this back to off seasons in the past, right? The drafts that have happened, the players that we've accumulated to get to where we are right now. And as you just sit here, you go through the Colts and what they have, especially on offense. When you go look at it and you think, well, let's assume Anthony Richardson's putting in the work. The guys are talking about like he is dialed in. Obviously, there are people on the internet, 3 off seasons, we keep hearing he's dialed in. Well, his first off season, he really wasn't with the Colts. Right, gets drafted in April, goes through rookie mini camps, takes time off, ends up in training camp. Right, and with the season right around the corner, everybody's getting dialed in. And then last offseason wasn't working with the team because he was rehabbing. Again, where people get the idea of, people have been talking about him being locked in since he got here. There really hasn't been that. Right, so Anthony, DeForest Buckner, I think, does a pretty good job of being fairly honest. And even though he's going to toe the company line and he's going to say the things that he needs to as a veteran in this league, he's not going to throw anybody under the bus. I feel like generally you can read between the lines with DeForest Buckner. And what he's saying about Anthony just gives me a little bit of extra confidence that Anthony looks like the guy. From all indications, seems like Anthony is like, this is what an NFL quarterback is supposed to be. Locked in, goal, just work, come in, work, lead by example, like everything I'm hearing so far. Everything a quarterback's supposed to be. So you got Anthony, right? And then you have Jonathan Taylor, Khalil Herbert, DJ Giddens, very exciting rookie coming in. All the receivers we have, and really excited to see what AD's going to do. Seems like he's really come out of his shell just on some of the content that the Colts have put out. Seems like he's really come out of his shell. He seems really comfortable with being in the building, being around the guys. So really excited to see him take that second year jump. Anthony Gould, what's he going to be able to do in his role? And of course, Ashton Doolin there. Then tight ends, we go and get, of course, Tyler Warren. Hopefully Jelani Woods can stay healthy. The offensive line, while a work in progress, still going to be one of the better offensive lines in the league. But then on the defensive side, like the only thing that we needed to work on was, hey, we need to buff up the secondary. That's exactly what we did, of course, in free agency. Cam Bynum and Jarvarius Ward. We already have Kenny Moore, Jalen Jones. You need Juju Brents to stay healthy. We have Nick Cross in the back end. Like, secondary's looking good. The defensive line, beefed up, looking good. We got depth at edge, hoping the depth that we've collected through this offseason on the interior can bear fruit for us. But man, what we were able to do this offseason, what the Colts did in this offseason, again, going and getting Charvarius Ward and Cam Bynum from what Chris Ballard has done in the past, like those moves are going to be so massive. And not only, like, okay, we're talking about player acquisitions. You went and got Lou Anarumo, who the numbers in Cincy up and down. His personnel there has been up and down. But Lou Anarumo and some of the other coaches that were brought in on the defensive side of the ball are secondary specialists, right? And coming in, we're going to play more secondary this year. We're going to play different looks than we've played in years past. And DeForest Buckner already saying, hey, during our first install period with the defense, we can understand why people call him the mad scientist. We see why he is that way. The different things that are going to be thrown at the defense, I can't wait for. So from a coaching aspect, just getting better, getting more multiple, getting more aggressive, a different mindset, a different philosophy in those defensive rooms. I cannot wait to see what that looks like on Sundays and what that looks like, because I've been talking to you guys for years. We got a bunch of dogs on this team, but we don't have a coordinator that's going to take the leash off of those dogs, and now we do. So now you're going to have these dogs running around the park without a leash. It's time to go hunt, right? It's time to go hunt, and I can't wait. Right, the collection of talent on the defense has already been good enough, and now we're adding more pieces. The development of some of these young guys coming into their own. Nick Cross getting the experience from last year, taking it into this year. You add that with the fact that during Nick Cross's rookie year, he was learning a lot from Stephon Gilmore. Now he gets to learn from other guys like Cam Bynum and guys like Charvarius Ward, and really continuing to study the game. And just really excited with what we can see from him. But the additions of Cam Bynum and Charvarius Ward onto the defense, the addition of JTT on that defense, I think by the end of the year, those three additions are going to prove so massive for us through this season. And of course, all these conversations are predicated on our guys being able to stay healthy. But those three guys and the addition of what they can do and what they can provide for our defense week in, week out, from one game to the next is going to be so crucial. And so I think those three are going to be massive for us this season. Right. So going and getting those guys, like Chris Ballard and his team looking at what we need and going and getting those guys to fill certain roles. Can't ask for anything better as a Colts fan. And then looking at the offensive side, again, you have Anthony Richardson, finally being able to have a healthy offseason here, finally able to go in, put the work in, and really start to lock in on the mistakes that he's made in the past. Now you get to move forward and you get to prove to everybody, hey, these are things I've learned, and start to act on it as a football player, as a man, as a professional. These are the things AR needs to work on in coming into the year. Hopefully that bears fruit for us. But then just what he was able to do, Chris Ballard and his team were able to do in this offseason for the offense, going and getting Tyler Warren. If that's the only thing we talk about this offseason for the offense, then I'm good with that. You go get Tyler Warren, a playmaker at tight end, with what we already are rolling out. That's going to make us even more dangerous. But I also love going and getting Khalil Herbert. That's a signing that people aren't going to talk about. It's not flashy, but it's one that I absolutely love for this offseason, right? Going and getting Khalil Herbert. I also love DJ Giddens. He was a guy that I did a little bit of research on in our mock drafts as we were going through different mock drafts. He was somebody that I had actually mocked to the Colts. I believe in our last mock draft, I mocked him to the Colts, I'm pretty sure. And we ended up getting him, somebody that I think brings a really good skill set, again, for a backup running back, assuming Khalil Herbert going to go and be a backup somewhere else once again, maybe try to find some footing in a place where he can stay for multiple years after this year. But I think Jonathan Taylor, DJ Giddens, going into the future is going to be something that we as Colts fans can look at and be like, hey, these two together are a dynamic duo. And these two together are going to be a problem for defenses to stop in the future. So really love going getting DJ Giddens, really love going and getting Khalil Herbert. And then again, you go get the tight end. Now, of course, we're lacking at that right guard position. What are we going to do there? But you also got Braden Smith to restructure his contract to open up more money, gives you options to be able to do things that you still need to do. So I'm really excited again. The Colts just seemingly finessing the NFL, going getting the best corner available, going getting the best safety available. We got the best tight end in the draft. We went and got a really good backup running back, maybe the best number 2 running back in the league, to be completely honest with you. Like the holes that we've filled, and whether it's starters or backups, they're all the different holes that we had to talk about filling except for that starting right guard spot. So I'm really excited with what the Colts were able to do. I think they've done a really good job building this team, and I think with the offensive coaches, we've seen the good and bad through Shane Steichen's first couple of years, but I still believe really solid offensive coaches, and I think the defensive side, right? You got to play. This is a 3-phase game, and I think defensively we're really going to be able to step up this year and be more of a cohesive group from offense to defense. Special teams got to stop giving up such big returns and putting defense in bad positions. That's something that needs to get figured out. But nonetheless, I do really like what the Colts were able to do this offseason, even down to Matt Gay not being here anymore. Spencer Schrader somehow coming back to the Colts. That's another underrated signing by the Colts. So all in all, man, all 3 phases, happy with what we've done. Chris Ballard's best offseason with the Colts, in my opinion. Like, if the Anthony Richardson draft, right, if that draft class balls out in their 3rd season, then that's going to end up being the best Chris Ballard offseason. But stacking good offseason is exactly what we need. We need to continue to develop these players, continue to get better. The quarterback obviously has to be the major key in the success that we end up having this season. But what the possibilities of what this team can do are so limitless with the talent that's on this team and with the coaches that we've assembled, like an all-star cast of coaches. So really, really excited. We still have a few months until training camp, a couple months. It's about 2.5 months till training camp, and about 3 months. Probably just over 3 months until the regular season for the NFL starts. But man, or well, I guess it'd be 4 months, right? Talking about September. So a little over 4 months till that comes. So still have a ways, but really excited with the offseason that we've had here for the Colts. So, of course, like to know what your opinion is on all this. You let me know down in the comment section. Love hearing from you guys. Of course, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you continue to get notified anytime we drop any content on this channel. Of course, appreciate you stopping by for another video. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.